Crisis.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Episode 36 of the Mid-Geek Crisis. My name is Joe.
Pedro, Cautious Online.
Hey guys,
you're the Afroman, right? That's
I am the Afroman. The Afroman on pretty much everything. If you look me up on Xbox, on Twitter. So how's everyone been? I'm here. I'm waiting for a reply back from everybody, but of course I'm not gonna get one.
We got to go live, bro.
I know we're gonna go live. We've worked out some kinks from 2 weeks ago. I'm able to go a little live. I'm able to stream now. I got to be able to get chat going up and running. I've gotten better at this. So these old bones are trying to be all young and hip and cool.
You've also left the sound booth. I see you're now.
Yeah, there's some rearranging going on.
Population.
Back in general population for sure. So,
excuse me, a little bit of a cold.
Yeah, absolutely. You all right? Cold.
A little bit of a summer cold, summer congestion.
Allergies?
I don't know. Maybe.
So I wanted to start the show off with an update on something we talked about. Wow, what was it? Probably November, December.
So maybe like our third or fourth episode, maybe fifth. Back when we were making predictions.
Breaking predictions, and 30 plus weeks later, we now have a final outcome. I mean, honestly, 30 weeks later.
I didn't even think about the amount of time. I was just
right. So it was episode 36, and maybe episode 6 we talked about this, and that was the bags, the Fallout 76 bags, the trash bags that they sent out to everyone. They finally, quote, shipped. And, they're a cheap canvas bag now.
I'm trying to imagine, like, the person who's already... So there are two kinds of fans, right? There's the one who got the game and was upset with the bag, but still played the game, found out they didn't like the game and stopped. And then there's the people who are still hardcore fans, like they felt hurt and betrayed, but... And neither one of them is probably happy getting that package in the mail, right? Is that a good beer?
It is a good beer.
It
is our local brewery here.
Like, if I got the bag, I'd pull it out of my mailbox and I would just put it directly into the trash. Like, I wouldn't even.
It's bittersweet.
Huh?
It's a bittersweet kind of thing. Like they sent out these cheap nylon bags, sacks. They call them in the news story. Nylon sack, and now we've got these canvas bags, and these things are
canvas bags.
They're I wouldn't use it as a gym bag, honestly. I mean, it's pretty cheap.
What were they going to use this for? Like, really, people?
Is this the mountain you were going to die on? I would have been like, you know what, guys, that's fine. You know what? Don't give me the bag. Just give me a better game.
Oh, God.
This is why you guys haven't gotten good updates for Fallout 76, because they were too busy trying to make these bags.
Dude. That, and also they don't know what they're doing. And it takes time to record NPCs for a game that should have had NPCs from the beginning, right? They should have just made a Fallout 76 game that was with NPCs, right?
Yeah, they should have just made another Fallout game. Yeah. Another Fallout game, and they could have made the multiplayer.
Everybody wants that sweet MMO moolah. They want to make that. I don't know.
Do they? I thought we were over MMOs. Like, didn't we? How many years ago?
No, they wanted. Well, now we don't call them MMOs anymore, right? They're called
battle royales.
Not battle royales, but
that's what we're already getting that.
I mean,
mass multiplayer.
Listen, fight me. Change my mind. Destiny's an MMO. Division 2 is an MMO. Like, I don't. These games are MMOs. Why are we pretending they're not? They're just console based. What makes them?
No. It's a mass multiplayer online game.
Yeah, with constant updates. You can't play it offline.
You can't play it offline. It
does play it offline.
Most of them tend to have MMORPG. Well, they're MMORPG, so most of them have some RPG elements. So
what?
Division's got stats and bonuses and stacking and
loot hunting, stories, characters.
Who knows what else, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's World of Warcraft without the elves, right? It's just an MMO. So like, let's not pretend that these games aren't MMOs, and everybody wants that sweet MMO money.
Right.
They want that like constant fandom. They want that, although they don't have subscription based. So I don't know. I guess cosmetics is how they make their money. So I haven't spent a dime on Division 2 cosmetics. I've just been playing the game, and I really haven't. Actually, I have not been playing the game, but if I was playing the game, I would not be spending money on
Do
cosmetics.
you feel like it hasn't pulled you in like the first one did, or what do you? So I haven't touched the game. I don't own it, but
Yeah.
and the only reason I didn't own it because I knew I wasn't going to dedicate the time that I wanted to give it if I really
Sure.
But
I just been playing on weekends with my friends. Like, it's a multiplayer game for me. I don't enjoy the like single player grind anymore like I used to. I'd rather grind out something else. So I play it Sunday mornings with my friends, buddies. If I see someone online playing it that I know, I might join them and play. But otherwise, I'm not looking to
do the campaign. You do the campaign with other people, with friends. So you're doing a co-op experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just going into like, what is it? Do they even call it the Dark Zone anymore? What is it?
Yeah, there's 3 Dark Zones now. Yeah, there's Dark Zones.
Yeah. Okay. 3.
But I don't do that, right? Because I don't really like PvP. And from what I understand, they changed the Dark Zone anyway. But there's a lot of things they changed. I find the loot system really convoluted, like needlessly so.
That's
but
weird.
I do enjoy the combat. I enjoy the cover base. I like the teamwork. It's a lot of fun playing with other people, but by myself, it really is just me pointing and shooting at bullet sponges. You know, there isn't much to it. The story is, I don't know why it's not as compelling, but I think it's because it doesn't take place in New York City, right? Like, it's like DC isn't as interesting a setting in my mind.
No, I agree. I mean,
and the weird post-apocalyptic nature of it just doesn't really compel to me. It's.
Have we hit peak post-apocalyptic? I mean,
I guess we will after Cyberpunk 2077, right? That'll be.
You think?
That'll be peak.
I don't think I saw a single game at E3 that didn't take place in a post-apocalyptic world. Like, I guess it's the easy route. Like, I guess I don't know what I'm looking for. But
yeah. What other?
I don't know. Just give me.
I think modern settings are problematic, right?
Are they
difficult to? Well, yeah. It'd be difficult to tread the line without causing negative press nowadays.
Sure, I guess you're right there.
And I feel like games in the past would invite that same sort of problem, right? Unless you go whole like
alternate universe kind of thing, or
alternate universe with elves and stuff like that, or you just say, screw it, I'm going to make a game only for white people, or I'm going to make a game only for like specific minority groups. Like, I just don't think there's ways to navigate that on a big box game anymore. So the future in post-apocalyptic worlds feels right. Also, it feels like that's where we're headed, to be honest. So why not make games in that? Like think about the last time post-apocalyptic games were like, or movies, right? Because there's no equivalent to the game generation nowadays. But like the 70s and 80s was a time period where all they made was post-apocalyptic films, right? And it's because we thought the world was going to end because of the Cold War. Maybe we feel a little bit of that now, right? We've got superhero movies because we're hoping someone saves us. And then there's post-apocalyptic world, right? Those are the two, A couple years ago when everything was going great and we were living the life, it was zombies. And that's because zombies is sort of a reflection of our emptiness and blah, blah, blah. It's just, we're going through this rotation now. And if we get past it, which we might not, we'll go back to like better movies.
So let's say we do. I mean, I want to talk a little future game in general, just because it seems like, I don't know where games are going. I mean, we like predictions on the show, and we like talking about future games. And my kids are going to get older and older, and they're going to want to play games. And I see a lot of these post-apocalyptic games as games that I don't want them even touching. Right? Like, I don't know. I can't imagine my kiddo playing Division, or I can't imagine. I mean, not saying that they're not eventually going to get old enough that they're going to play those games. I'm just thinking about like.
Dude, I know this 11-year-old down the street that plays Rainbow Six Siege, and he probably kicked my butt in it, right? Like, hey, go for it. He moved from. Here's the deal. All the little kids that age moved like this summer. They're not playing. This isn't the summer of Fortnite, and I'm wondering what Fortnite's going to do because everyone I talk to now, some Fortnite's played out.
Are they playing Apex? What are they playing?
Oh, he was like, some of my friends went to Apex, and I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, so he went.
Right.
He went
So
back.
I'm like, you went from Fortnite to Rainbow Six Siege? That's like
That's an upgrade. I mean,
like
that's an
you
upgrade. It's a think move.
graduated to college. Like you
Yeah, right.
that's,
No, absolutely.
he's like, yeah, it's like a lot harder. He's like, I have my favorite operators, but I understand that sometimes you gotta switch them up. I'm like, wow, that's crazy, kid. Like
That's deep, bro. You just had an intense gaming session talk with like what is it, a 14-year-old?
11.
Oh, 11. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I cling to the Nintendo games.
You cling to your childhood. No.
I cling to my childhood, of course.
Let's not make this an awkward therapy session.
No, but I mean it's true. Like I mean, we talk about all these post-apocalyptic games, the war and the violence, and I might be a little played out on it. Maybe I have to. I don't know. Like every game has to have like they push the buttons as far as they can with like the headshots and the violence, and then we go from that to like post-apocalyptic where everything is like there is no utopia and
Grim dark.
everything's got to be grim dark edgelord 76 whatever, and maybe the Nintendo games kind of give you a little brightness about silliness, a game based off of something fantasy.
I mean Zelda's kind of a post-apocalyptic game, right? I mean that's
I mean the newest one was definitely sort of. I mean it definitely was an emptier world.
There's a lot of Reddit fan fiction about how it is, right? That's
yeah,
there is.
Sure. Well, that's an excellent segue. It's an excellent segue.
Is it?
It is. I forgot to put a story on here, but I thought it was interesting. But they said the reason that Breath of the Wild is getting a sequel, this is more along the lines of game development, is because the team had too many DLC ideas.
And they said they're just going to make a new game.
Yeah, they said that according to what they're talking about is they had lots of ideas of where to go with this world that they had created, but they didn't want to make it all just a bunch of downloadable content. They figured they had enough content to just make a whole new game.
So I'm of two minds there.
And this is to say that the game was already long and full of content. Like to play the game to completion, you're looking at over 100+ hours. So you got 100+. You got a complete game out of Zelda, out of Breath.
Yeah, no, and DLC. They thought they could take that DLC, their ideas, and make another 100+ hour game.
Right.
It's interesting that Nintendo doesn't want to go the same model as Division 2 or Destiny or any of those 100+ hour games where you have to. I mean, those games are only 100+ because you got to grind for gear, but
right.
Having not played Breath of the Wild, I'm assuming you don't actually grind for gear.
Kind of. I mean,
okay. All right.
There's lots of gear. There's lots of gear all over the place. Different stats for the sword, but everything breaks, right? So you can right at the beginning of the game, you can get like a new tunic that's a specific stat, and then as you grind in the game, you get specific things that you need to then appease some of there's these fairies, and the fairies upgrade the armor to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then eventually once it gets to that you max out the stats on that particular. So like there's a specific tunic, and then you can get a set of armor that gives you climbing gear, which makes you climb faster, that sort of thing. So you do and you don't. That gear you can buy or you can find pretty easily, but to get it maxed out,
you gotta grind it out.
You gotta grind for sure.
Gotcha.
So there is some grinding elements. It's the most unique of a Zelda when it comes down to the way it did its gear. And then swords, you'd find this amazing sword, but also all weapons have durability in the game, which is something that a lot of people hated. They were like, "Oh, I don't want to make weapons that don't break." Everything breaks. Even the Master Sword doesn't break, but it eventually like decharges, like it runs out of power, and you have to put it away to let it recharge again before you can use it.
Even the Master Sword, he says.
Yeah, even the Master Sword.
That's oh yeah. I mean, I remember what game? I'm sure Jordan's going to tell us, or someone's going to tell us what game. He's like a resident expert on this sort of history. What game introduced durability as kind of an annoying mechanic? Because I remember like when it first came out, and I was like, "Oh no, this is the worst! Like just the worst mechanic ever."
I wanted to hate it. I felt the hate that other people, and I was like, I get it. You just found this awesome fire sword in the game, and you want to be able to use it when you want. But it also made it that they could drop that same sword in multiple places,
Yeah.
and it allowed you to reserve and be skillful and just like slamming the freaking attack
Here's
button.
what wound up happening though is that I wound up using cheap weapons, and then I beat the game, and I have 7 fire swords in my inventory. Right, that's what winds up happening with these kinds of durability. It's like I just wind up
Sometimes,
with
yeah.
99 Phoenix Downs. Right, I just always wind up with too much stuff, and only now, 30 plus years into gaming, which is crazy, right, to say out loud. Maybe 32, 33 years into gaming.
Yeah.
Only now do I find myself using power-ups right away. Like, I still have to fight the urge. Oh, I got to save this for the big boss.
Yeah, a
I
good
still
example
have
of
to fight
this.
that urge.
A good example of this is the Metrovania games, or like the Castlevania games in general. Symphony of the Night, right? Like you'd walk around the castle and you'd pick up all sorts of stuff, food and whatever. And eventually, by the end of the game, you've got like 99 or 80 of a specific item because you didn't use them. You
Yeah.
found other ways. There was food in the game that really didn't need to be there, but they gave it to you, like shiitake mushrooms as an item that you pick up, and you get 2 or 3 or 4. You pick them up over and over because a specific enemy would kill it or drop it, and then you'd have them, and you'd never use them because you're like, oh, I can use this later. I can use this later.
I can use this later. Yep. No, that's exactly the way it works. I mean, Final Fantasy
That is the
games
same
were
way.
like
Absolutely.
ridiculous for it. Like when I played Division, right? Division 1, I'd save those incendiary grenades or the special ammunition for special fights, and I'd get through an entire map and be like, oh, I totally forgot to use them.
Totally forgot to use those.
Which would have made the matches way easier, probably, or
Maybe. Yeah,
faster,
I mean,
whatever. But
so
I just never bothered using that stuff. And now that I'm playing Division 2, I find myself like throwing grenades way more often just because I'm like, I got to remember to use my stuff and not save it for a big deal.
well, let's talk about this for a second because they say that and again, this is Enuma, the director of Breath of the Wild. When they asked him, what he thought about a sequel for Breath of the Wild as opposed to a new Zelda game, just making it a DLC. He's like, when we released the DLC for Breath of the Wild, we realized that this is a great way to add more elements to the same world. But when it comes to technical things, DLC is pretty much data. You're adding data to a pre-existing title. And so when we wanted to add bigger changes, DLC is not enough. And that's why we thought making a sequel would be a good fit. Basically, what he's saying is mechanics. He wanted to change some mechanics post-game. And at that point, you're changing the game up. And this is where, I'm kind of segueing into another talk, but people that bought the game, we've talked about this multiple times on the show, where you buy the game you get on the cart, you should be able to pop in without internet and just play the game.
Right.
And Zelda gives you that, whether they've patched it after the fact, but none of it there was never a game-breaking patch, although there was patches that did increase quality of life in the game. It's not impossible to beat the game without ever going on the internet.
So if I bought Breath of the Wild now,
right,
and did not connect my Switch to the internet, I could play it?
You could play it 100% all the way through. I know, but that's Nintendo. That's the way they've always worked with their development. They're very specific on beating the game all the way through. Now, mind you, there are some...
Unless it's Kingdom
Hearts, right? Right, where you beat the game, but if you never went online, you'd never get the final ending. You wouldn't get that final video because that downloads in a DLC patch, or in a day one patch, or a day whatever patch later.
I mean, I'm sure my Switch isn't going to work unless I get the day one patch.
So there were items on the map that, like after the fact, like a good example is once you purchase the DLC gave you a bunch of free stuff. And once you purchase the DLC, these new, they were called the EX quests, would show up on your map, and that was how the DLC worked in the game. And they made it so that there was these treasure chests hidden in specific parts of the world, and they don't exist on your map if you don't have the DLC. If you do have the DLC, they exist there, and then you can go and find these items, and they were like just extra cosmetic armor or whatever. Like Majora's Mask is an EXE.
Sure.
It's an EX item, and you don't get it without the DLC. But their DLC was like $11, and it gave you the entirety of the DLC.
Is it cosmetic stuff in a game that's not multiplayer?
It's all cosmetic stuff because so Breath of the Wild was kind of a homage to the game. So because it takes place kind of in a deep, dark future of the timeline, they reference the entirety of Zelda by dropping items from the previous
Gotcha.
Zelda games, and you'd pick them up, and there'd be a little lore to it, like this mask looks foreboding or whatever, and from a time beyond, or the different outfits that Link would wear, like the Wind Waker tunic. You could put it on, and the description for the item is like, the smell of sea salt in the air, when you put this on or whatever. Like
Right.
it
It
just
was
had
like a real reward for the people who
right. So it kind of like you put the entire set on, and it had its own little bonus. But at the same time, it was like, oh, look, I've got the Wind Waker stuff. Or, hey, I've got the original Zelda from NES. Like you'd put the hat on, it would give you brown hair versus the.
I gotcha.
So that's kind of stuff that they would add. So it's nice because they're talking about them wanting to change the mechanics, and that would have been different, right? If they had released this DLC, they would have been like, oh, here's this new mechanic. But then you'd buy the game and you'd pop it in, and if you didn't have internet access, you wouldn't get that mechanic. They would physically patch the game to give you a different mechanic.
Sure, that's what DLC. That's how it works.
Right. So unless they re-release the game in some like Game of the Year or Complete Edition to make people double dip.
But it's a DLC, so you got to buy it.
Right, but you know how they've done this before, right? Like every other game that's had multiple DLC patches. A good example, like Borderlands. They had Borderlands 2, you bought it, and then you'd buy the DLC packs or whatever the season pass. And then eventually down the road, you'd buy a Complete Edition or a
Game of the Year edition with all the DLC.
All the DLC comes on it. So people that own the original cart have to go online. People that bought it after the fact don't have to do anything. The entirety of the game came on there. A good example, Borderlands 1 had an edition with all of the patch, like all of the DLC, one disc. And it was so much so that you could take that disc and give it to someone else that had Borderlands 1, and it would give them the
access to all the stuff. Yep.
So that was weird, but again, it's definitely a difference. We call that, we look at that now and go, oh, that's cool, but then we see that that's very anti what all the other developers are doing. They really want to add more content to a game. And
yeah, it's like completely different. It's completely different. It's weird that I guess Breath of the Wild is what, 3 years old now?
Yeah, it was a launch time.
So it's about time for a sequel in the development cycle of things like Destiny and Division 2, and I'm trying to think of ones that compete against that, but there aren't many games that compete against those two from a MMO
from like a style, MMO or
style or
whatever.
But like Gears of War would have its cycle every 3 years. Assassin's Creed, no, that's every year, but it's a different story or different development team, however you want to put it. But yeah, I mean, a sequel sounds good. It's great. I think I'm glad they didn't go the DLC route. It's DLC always seems something that Nintendo doesn't really offer, right? It's not something you get.
They've gotten better with it with the Switch. They've got patches and patches and patches. There's tons of DLC for Smash. So an example of a game that you definitely never want to play right out of the cart is Smash Brothers. Like if you just bought that right off it, plugged it into your Switch, and never went online, you would never get the patches. And you'd never get the 50 more characters that they're added post, right?
You'd also not get your ass kicked by a 5-year-old online, though. That's
right. Absolutely.
How will you ever get bronze on you?
How will you ever? So DLC content, incomplete games. We talk about it a lot. My kiddos don't even understand that concept. They really like to play games, and they've gotten to the point where even their iPads won't let them play a game after a certain amount of time. It'll say, I have the App Store locked down, so they can't go and download a bunch of free crap.
Sure.
But at that point, it also makes it so they can't update their apps unless I go in there and update them for them.
Interesting.
Yeah, so some games will say, hey, there's a new version of this, and it won't let them play because some of them are they connect online. So then they're like, Daddy, can you update this game because I can't play it. And so I have to do that. A game that they love to play. We talked about this when we were talking about Minecraft Dungeons. They like to play Minecraft Story Mode, which is Telltale games. And it's a story-driven game, and they love it. It's got a good story. It's actually pretty funny, well done. From Traveler's Tale, Telltale games, the fantastic good storytelling. And it's disappearing. It's gone. It will be gone.
I mean, someone's going to buy that.
It wasn't bought with the rest of it, and Minecraft technically belongs to Microsoft. So I'm not saying it's impossible. Microsoft could definitely go, hey, we're going to publish it again because it's based off of our IP, so they can totally do it. But for now, The game is leaving right now. You can't even buy it, or you can and you can't. If you were to go onto the Xbox, for example, Xbox store, and try to buy it, you can't. Well, you can if you want to spend, I think, $700 or something on it.
Oh, because it's like a big collection.
They up the price. They up the price on purpose so that they can't buy it. They don't want to pull it down, but they can't sell it anymore. Like there's some weird, so they put it to a huge price so that you wouldn't want to buy it. Like it's
Right.
so much that it's
$700.
it's got a weird price right now. So the way they did that is they did that to make it unattainable for someone who wants to buy the game new, but it allows people to re-download it if they've already purchased it for now until it gets delisted on
The 26th,
25th of June.
25th, yeah.
And at that point, the game will go away.
So this just sort of connects to your fear of your games disappearing, your favorite games disappearing, right? So, I mean, I like Telltale games. If they disappear, I played them, right? So, media, digital stuff is ephemera to me, right? It could disappear and come back regardless. But I can see how some folks might be upset, right? Especially in this constantly connected world. If you digitally picked up your game and you paid money for it, in your head you think you own it, but really you're just leasing it. And you're hoping that you should be able to download it at any point in the distant future, right? Like in the post-apocalyptic Fallout land of the future, you should be able to plug your computer in, and if there's an online connection, you should be able to download it. You won't be. I think this might be the first. I mean, usually these companies get bought up so their games continue to be sold. I'm surprised because, like, typically publishers will sign agreements that the game has to remain available, right? So it seems weird that this particular.
I think the only one that we saw that was GOG Games.
They're the only ones that are holding it. Yeah.
They have a special publisher agreement that says that they're allowed to hold on to the game and download it for the life of the game. Or there's some weird
for the life you have there. So that and that doesn't mean you could buy it. It just means that if you bought it already and your computer crashed or your Xbox One disappeared or you changed your password, you can re-download it. It doesn't mean you could buy it. So, yeah, I mean, good night to the world of actually owning anything, which is why the Xbox Pass again. People are
I know we preach on it constantly. You're right. We don't
just pay the subscription. You lease more games that way. You don't.
Right. The difference there, I guess, is that is a service that I know I'm not buying. I don't expect them to give me these games for the price that I'm paying. Like every time I hit download on a new game they add, I know that it's Netflix because I'm paying a subscription cost. If I bought the game, if I bought Minecraft Story Mode and I own it and I've had it on my machine and I go and get a new Xbox and my kid says I want to play it again, I should be able to go, oh, hold on, let me hit download and download it again. But I won't be able to.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand the disappointment or the anger because it's not really rage. It's just like, that's not. But we came from the cartridge world and also this PC world where I was also in, right? And hardware was changing so fast, right? And things were changing so fast that like there are games that I purchased that I can't play anymore. I'll never be able to play.
Sure.
And
sure.
I'll never be able to play a Ruby's Eventide. I'll never be able to play Final Fantasy 11, right? All the games, all these MMOs that I paid money for.
Yeah.
Downloaded, installed on 7 CDs. World of Warcraft Classic. Well, now I can play it, but you know what I mean. All these games, there was this. I don't know. Is EverQuest even still around? I guess maybe it is. No, so
not around anymore.
I guess in my head, I'm just used to that concept that these games eventually disappear and they're gone and they become abandoned. Like there's a term for it. It's abandoned, right?
But abandonware, just like any other genre, abandonware, there's someone out there that has like a vault of games like online, and so you go on there and you go to these abandonware websites. I remember, you download.
There was one that was called abandonware.
Yeah, you go and download
right?
Whatever. They'd show you, and then there were developers that made like DOSBox that you would install on your fast PC. Emulates a slower PC so that you can play these games, because trying to play these games on newer hardware was impossible because a lot of these games, the timing of the game was based off the CPU clock. And so the faster the computer went, the faster the game ran. which is what you want, but not like this. It made it unplayable.
Impossible. Possible. Yeah. No. And so here we are. I mean, emulators can give you some of that for old Atari games, but there are addicts. There are dozens of addicts, hundreds of addicts in America with Atari games that no one will ever see the light of day. Right? They just get thrown right to the dump, and we'll never see them again. So
I think I'm not saying that this is the common practice. I wish more developers did this, but one of my favorite things, and you're probably familiar with this, but developers like software,
who
ID.
Mm-hmm.
So ID and software creators of Doom, Wolfenstein, etc. They would have a specific date of death for a game in a way. What they would do is they would release this game, brand new game. Let's say Quake 2. Quake 2 would come out and they'd be like, oh, again, Quake 2 came out. They'd sell it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever. And then after like a specific amount of time, they would go, you know what? We're done with this game. Here's the source code to the game.
Yeah.
I know. You thought at that, but they were like,
how many other companies do that?
No, not many. That's what I'm saying. A few of them do. Some few of them have done that, but they're like, they're basically saying there is no more money to make off of this outdated engine, but here's a game engine for the game.
Yeah, go make competitors to us.
Go make competitors with it. Patch the engine, upgrade it, and people did. Good example.
Yeah, I mean that's a real Keanu Reeves style living life, right? I have enough money to last a lifetime, give the rest away, but Microsoft's not going to do that.
No, but I'm just saying a good example of this is without that freedom, there wouldn't be Half-Life. Half-Life 1 was based off of the Quake 2 engine.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the kind of thing where it was like, hey, the source engine,
you're preaching to the
Valve, which became Steam, which became the place. So, like, I'm just saying good deeds happen, and when they
you preach to the choir, dude. I mean, like, you look at let's be even, like, look at Shakespeare. Look how many great things have come out of Shakespeare.
Sure.
People have redone Shakespeare as their own, right? They've made Ron, Kurosawa's great Ron movie based on King Lear. Phenomenal film. We wouldn't have that if Shakespeare still protected his copyright, right?
Right.
The Tolkien family protects their copyright. So we don't get new things in the Tolkien universe. We don't get new ideas, new presentations of the Tolkien universe unless they approve it, right? And they're super protective. And that's kind of sad. I mean, Star Wars is very similar, right? Star Wars has a very protective attitude. They didn't, and then they did, and then they didn't, and they did, right?
Well, they've always been. What's interesting about Star Wars is, you can't just like release a new Star Wars movie under the name Star Wars. But what they have been is they've always been very friendly to the fan community about any type of fan fiction, about cosplay, about making your own whatever Star Wars, making lightsabers. I mean, they could have taken down all these people selling lightsabers in the replicas of the movie, and they don't, because they're like, you guys are doing us a favor.
Why even have this fight?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to keep buying our stuff anyway. We've got
just don't bring it to Galaxy's Edge because your lightsabers are not allowed. That's
right. That's right.
No cosplay, no outfits. You can buy them here, but you got to wear them outside.
Right.
So I don't know. I'd love for all that intellectual property to be released and get rid of all those IPs after a certain number of years, and like id Software, after a certain amount of profit, just let it out there to see how people can create. Music is a great example of where, if you're clever about it, you could take a beat or a line or a chorus and mix it into your own thing. Hip hop would not be hip hop if folks were as crazy protective of music as they are, because of the way that it sort of developed using other people's bass lines and drum beats and things like that.
Right.
So
it's inspired by something, which allows you to be creative in your own right.
And it's created a whole new industry, right? You look at engineers; they take the ideas of other engineers and they build better things. So it's weird to me that we don't let people do that with intellectual property. And folks, like, I don't want to say they were open to it, but it seemed to me like folks were willing to work more together.
Yeah.
That, and now it doesn't seem like. It seems like everyone has their own individual worlds, and they don't let people develop in there unless they're very careful. Marvel obviously, is the main one, right? It's the Marvel Universe, and there's nothing else. And they killed the Netflix shows because they wanted to control it all. So, conspiracy theory.
No, it's the truth. Disney is not benevolent.
No.
Disney is not benevolent.
Nobody must think of them as benevolent.
No one will ever think of it as benevolent. They shouldn't. And if you think that they're good guys or because they've given you the movies that you want and whatever, then you are sadly mistaken.
I also finally saw Captain Marvel.
What'd you think?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was really, you know what? Sarah and
I'm going to do a faux pas. I'm going to break my own rule for a second.
It was safe. It was a really safe film.
It was real safe film.
Yep.
I'm going to break my own rule here because I'm going to tell you why I don't want to break this rule, but I'm going to break it right now just so I can get your take, and then I'm going to go bring shit and do this.
Hot take. Yeah.
Hot take. Better female-led superhero movie. Wonder Woman or Captain America or Captain Marvel?
Oh, Wonder Woman. Hands down. I will say they both had shitty villains.
Yes. They both had terrible villains, but
I don't think Brie Larson brought the level of confidence in their powers that Wonder Woman brought.
Yeah.
But there are different characters.
Different characters altogether, and there should be more female-led superheroes. They shouldn't be comparing them in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to say one's better than the other, but at the same time, I want them both to be successful in their own right.
My two problems with this film, and I know, it's like this is a special segment where Pedro reviews films that everyone saw 6 months ago.
It's fine. It came out on video, so
it did just come out on DVD. It's worth watching. My big problem, and this is coming from why did they make the Skrulls good? It makes me so mad.
You know what? No, I disagree there. I thought it was good because they made the Kree the bad.
But was anyone fooled? And also, the Kree are bad. They've always been bad.
It's a good allegory, right? Like they did the comparison with some realistic problems.
Okay, so wait, no, listen. You did a good job avoiding all the spoilers. You sat in that theater, and within 3 minutes of watching that start a fight between Captain Marvel and the Kree guy, Jude Law, whatever the hell his character name was.
Right.
Did you, for 1 second, believe the Kree were going to be good guys?
No.
Did you watch that fight and you were like, yeah, I'm buying this. No one in that audience bought it. And so I'm like, why bother? Why would you think you could trick us? You can't trick us. So make it interesting. And the Skrull, they're so good. They're such good comic book villains because they can... because they're doppelgangers, and doppelgangers are so much fun.
They are, and I'm not saying that they might not have some villain ones, but I definitely like the take. I'm just saying that making them just the baddie of all baddies after we've got so many alien villain races. And I love the fact that they made the Kree the very human-esque looking race. That appeals to us,
sure.
As the villain, and the ones that are just ugly up front. The
good guys, but people have done that a million times, right? And
yeah, and
if you had watched the movies, the Kree are bad because Ronan was a Kree. Right. You knew they were bad, and so I'm just watching this. I'm like, who was like. Oh, who got fooled by this? Who? Again. So
is Ronan painted? What's his deal? Is he always blue?
So the Kree are an amalgam, right? So they're a very diverse empire. They're not necessarily just a race; they're an empire. It's like the American people, right? They're just very diverse.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, and they also do that. So Captain Marvel's story kind of makes sense in my mind because I think. And I might be wrong here, and the comic book fans can crucify me for it, but I think the Kree also did kidnap and brainwash. They were not. They were never good, right? They were a warfare.
I'm sure they did that to a lot of the people that were on her team that followed the Kree way.
Right.
Finally, a lot of them were either kidnapped or brainwashed. If they did it to her, they probably did it to multiple people.
Yeah. So speaking of that dude that was part of Jude Law's crew. With the two swords.
Yeah.
Ugale, I forget his full name. Ugale, something or other.
The one he's in Guardians.
He's in Guardians, and he's the fanatic with Ronan, right?
Yeah, he's the one that they gets ripped the side off. He's the one that's a Star-Lord, and he's like, who? It's like, oh, come on.
Okay, all right. So because I'm watching it, and I'm like, I feel like I know that guy, and he's a bad guy in another film. Okay,
Right.
because they're tying things together real nice with that film. So, or
It-
they're wrapping it up for the final thing. So,
But I think what they've done with that movie, while I agree with you 100% about the movie, it's got weird pacing, not confidence in the characters. Just there's some fun moments in it. Like by the end of it, you're like, wow, this character is really powerful. I wish we'd seen more of this. Okay, we're gonna get more of this in Endgame, right?
yeah.
And
That's
that's
I haven't seen that game yet. So yeah,
which
so
is
I'm with
not
you.
to spoil anything. But what I did like is we've established more of space, right? Like Guardians of the Galaxy
The
is
best science fiction movies out there is Marvel films. I mean, that's not true. There's been some really good science fiction stuff out there, but they're making good ones. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 are so good. With the space.
Thor Ragnarok is
Thor
great.
Ragnarok added more to. They embraced the fact that they were space Vikings as opposed to like kind of skirting that line in the first one where they're like, oh, we're like Asgard and this and that.
We don't know what they are.
But we don't know what they are, and then you realize, no, they're just an alien race. That's
They're
it.
highly advanced alien race.
Highly advanced alien race.
Who found it easier to pretend to be gods? I would, right? I'd show up and pretend to be a god. Feels really advantageous,
Yeah.
Knock it out. But it was good. I mean, it was lazy, but it was good.
Did you watch it with R?
No.
No.
I always watch those movies first. I might watch it with R later, but we
Okay.
haven't. Yeah, she watched. She likes Black Panther, which is great. I love it. So I think having watched it now, I think it's safe enough for her to watch it. Right.
All right. Well, I'm interested to see what she thinks.
Yeah.
Now,
And she likes Captain Marvel, and she knows Captain Marvel really well.
After I've watched it, what did you think about the time that it was set in?
It was a skin. It wasn't really played well. I thought and I was talking to Sarah about it. One of the weird things about the soundtrack is that I actually lived it. So the music they were playing had a very different context for me than the music, than the imagery and the. I don't know. Like, I get what they were trying to do intellectually, and I understand what emotions they were trying to evoke with their musical choices. But instead, because that time period for me was so emo and so like punk rock, like I'm listening to this music and I'm like, man, I'm watching like the most capitalist commercial film in the world, and they're playing Nirvana. Like, that's really
my God. Right.
sad.
Right. Right.
Because all that music was
It was counterculture.
it was fundamentally counterculture, although it was counterculture as presented by culture. But
Right.
like I still bought the album at the Virgin Record store, right? Like,
Right.
But I owned that garbage album. I owned that Nirvana album, so it was weird. Like it didn't.
Garbage album.
I own the garbage album. I'm only happy when it rains. That's
garbage album.
Yes.
I thought I thought you were talking about Nirvana being garbage.
No, they weren't garbage.
All right, fair enough.
That would be
The
bold.
one listener would be like,
I say a lot of bold things, but I would never claim that boldness.
all right. No, yeah.
Pearl Jam,
Happy
maybe.
when it
Pearl
rains.
Jam.
So I thought their versions of the '90s were eventually top 40s.
Yeah, of course they were. But I mean, like, Guardians of the Galaxy's version of the hippie era soundtrack was, of course, top 40s, right? It wasn't.
Kind of, but it definitely.
All of the music was music I knew, and I don't listen to any music from that era.
I'm not saying you're right, but I guess what I'm getting at is there were some songs on there that, while we knew, they weren't exactly like there was a reason for that, right? Like, his mom made a hits tape for him of the
Right.
But
and it sounded like Captain Marvel had a mixtape for herself.
Right. Well,
right.
Yeah, whatever.
But the weird thing is that she was the weird thing to me is that she was an adult, like a fully formed adult when that music. If she lived in the 90s, right, and she didn't. She lived in the 80s.
Right.
So the music.
I
right,
know.
because she time traveled, right? So.
She disappeared for a certain amount of time.
For 6 years, which is
for 6 years.
Is this music she would even recognize? It just, I don't know. There was a lot of weird disconnects. Sarah's review is like, she's like, it was written by committee where they allowed a woman in the room. Like, she knows, like, they really tried.
Yeah.
But like, she was also like, man, there's a lot of, I don't know if she felt pandered to or like upset at the like clear way they were trying to deliver that strong woman message.
They also
And
really
it was safe. Like,
the
they didn't take
issue.
any chances. It was really
Yeah,
safe.
they also skirt the issue that she's totally a lesbian.
Dude, how many times could that woman say we were best friends without everyone in the room being like, and lesbians, like,
And lesbians, right? Like just own up to it, and then
face it.
they tell.
And like Sarah, I mean, she literally in that scene, she turned to me, she's like, why are they not just saying it? And I'm like, because the nerds out there would have to rip their dicks off in rage. Like, they wouldn't be able to handle it.
Oh, you're pandering to the gay community. Ugh. I can just, they're already.
I mean, they were already burning this film before it even got made.
Well, yeah, because they wanted like naked, like midriff and like ginormous. Well, you know what I'm talking about. They want like.
I'll take a little skin. She had a nice outfit. I'm just gonna say.
It's a fantastic outfit. I'm just saying, like, they wanted like scantily clad, like the black, the black like unitard looking one. They all want.
Yeah, no, I know what they wanted, and
yes.
And I'm sad. Like, there's a part of me that feels like they didn't get what they want, but I didn't get what I want, right? But they didn't get what they wanted more, so it's good. But I didn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't. I don't know. It wasn't.
It
was no Jessica Jones first season, right? Like, it was no,
right.
That's what it was.
Right. That's what we got. We're like, when you talk about like female like superhero power.
Which
I thought Jessica Jones.
The third season's on. I gotta put it on the list.
Yeah, it's out. Outfit. I love the outfit. I love the fact that she could just be like. Boop, 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 boop.
I love the fact that little girl figured out how to use it in 10 seconds. Right. I was like, well, that's a kid. Yeah. At first, I was like, there's no way. How would she even know how to? How would you know how to mix the color hues?
The best part about that whole movie, though, I will be honest, is Samuel Jackson and the fact that they did really well de-aging him.
Dude, it was so creepy.
Wasn't it? It was like watching Samuel Jackson in like Pulp Fiction or even earlier than that. Like New Jack City?
No, but like it was like watching Samuel Jackson in Pulp Fiction after a terrible Botox accident, right? There definitely. I hate that. I'm just going to throw it out there. I hate it. Hire a younger actor.
Not for Samuel. Come on, you can't. I don't need.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you know what? You're saying you can't, but you can. You can do it. You can have a different actor play a character, and we can all fucking grow up and learn to live with it. Anakin Skywalker was played by a different actor when he grew up.
Right, but I mean, he was like 6 to like 26, right?
They didn't 6 to like 16, but it doesn't. It's not whatever, because I had to watch a CGI'd face, and here's my frustration of like a fucking old dude kept their job longer. Like, this job could have gone to a younger dude. And then let's say we want to make another movie in the 90s, and we want to have Samuel Jackson act in it. Is he going to be CGI'd again? Like, couldn't we just get a younger actor? Like, couldn't we just find someone who there's no one on the planet that looks like Samuel Jackson?
But do we want okay.
Yes, look, I do. Yes.
If you
know what, X-Men did it, I thought it was great.
Okay. Right. They didn't de-age. They've de-aged him a little bit in some scenes, but they've that was so far back, that was 20, 30 plus years back in the past, that they decided to recast him, and then they moved forward with him. I get it. Right. I'm just saying,
I think they can age characters. They can't de-age them. It's creepy. It's creepy looking. Yeah. It really is creepy looking. And then I like to go to the inevitable post-apocalyptic universe where I'm like, well, then why have actors at all? Like, everyone's just going to be a voice actor, and we're just going to present the best CGI'd version of ourselves everywhere we go.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's horrible.
We're just going to get impressionists constantly?
Yeah. I'm going to be able to download a Samuel Jackson CGI, a CGI skin, and I'll do Mid-Geek Crisis with the CGI skin.
Deep fake. So we're going to get Harrison Ford will be forever.
Sonic the Hedgehog deep fakes. That's what I mean.
No, don't look that up, guys. Don't look it up. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just warning you now. I don't know, man. I agree and disagree on that. I think Samuel Jackson is just the character is Samuel Jackson. So
You know who looked really weird? Paulson, the other guy, to his fucking partner.
Coulson definitely. He had
He
hair.
looked weird, dude. The whole thing looked weird.
Yeah.
It looked weird enough that I knew they did it, and like I was just like, why did they just put younger actors in? Like, I would have been okay with it. It would have been a minute where I'm like, well, that's not Samuel Jackson, but then I would have been fine with it. Lando Calrissian, Han Solo. Did they make those guys younger? No, they got new actors to do it. I'm just saying.
I agree.
Hot take. Let's just put a young actor in there.
Later. If we're gonna do it later.
So in 5 years, when they make another movie in the 90s, whatever it might be, Guardians of the Galaxy, they time travel. Who cares, right? Time travel happens all the time. You're going to be okay with not Samuel Jackson playing Samuel Jackson?
No.
In 5 years?
No.
You're weird. That's like now they have to do it all the time.
No.
And then
in 5 years, it would just be a cameo. If he was a full-fledged character in the movie, like he was in Captain Marvel, then I would say, I don't know, maybe far enough in the future where Samuel Jackson is just too old to, recast, sure. But if he's going to do a quick cameo of him, I don't mind them doing CG. I mean, they did it with they've done it with other things before. Like I don't know. I
can't wait to watch the like horrified necromantic puppet of Stan Lee appear in all his films. Right? Let's just do that CGI. Why even fucking have new people? Why not just trot out the old dead folks and have them play Humphrey Bogart? I can't wait for a Marvel film with Humphrey Bogart CGI.
We don't have enough mocap with him.
We do.
I'm just saying, we don't have enough mocap of him.
Did we have enough mocap of Grand Moff Tarkin? No, they did it fine with him, right? He was already dead. It's not like they had to CGI him up.
Disney spent like $14 million on like.
They did.
I mean, I'm just saying.
How much did they spend on Samuel Jackson?
They got Disney money.
We could have had Hellboy 3 if we got that money.
You're absolutely right. I'm just saying that's Disney money, man. They can
gonna make Samuel Jackson young forever, bitches.
I mean, come on, like they've got a whole theme park dedicated to one of their.
And no disrespect to Samuel Jackson, no disrespect, but I think
agree with you.
I think Samuel Jackson was not done justice because a lot of Samuel Jackson is his face and his reactions, and I think they were lost. Like his voice was perfect, but I think his acting prowess was diminished by being turned to CGI.
You know what?
How
about this? How about this? What they should have done is he would have been exactly the same age, and then no one would have known why. We would have been given a whole new story of like, wait a minute, he looks exactly the same. As a matter of fact, he's just as old. And
he actually looks younger than he does in Iron Man.
Right. But I mean, like an example there is Nick Fury. Nick Fury is that character. Like in the comic books, I think he's like he never ages on purpose. So it would have been funny for them to do that. Just like the Samuel Jackson we saw in like Endgame or whatever, we see that exact same age.
That would have been perfect. I think does Nick Fury take like a super soldier serum? Doesn't he take like something?
There's something. You know, I'm a bad Marvel fan.
He freezes his age at some point.
Yeah, there is definitely some sort of like messing around with him, like what is his power or whatever.
Yeah,
and he definitely is like he's got a long age for sure.
And I won't lie, they got me with the eye joke. The eye joke was funny. They got me.
Oh, the Flurgan.
Yeah, I was like, what? I was laughing at that one.
Yeah, that was great, and I love the fact that again they could have done exactly the same thing. Like he never ages, and like no question it, don't question it. Why did you lose the eye? Oh, it was tortured. Whatever.
Don't think about it.
Like, that's just a scratch.
That's
not a scratch.
You know? Although I feel like Sarah would have been like, "Wait, isn't this in the '90s? Why isn't he age?" And I would have been like, "I don't know. It's Nick Fury. Just roll with it, babe."
Yeah, I mean, I gotta answer this. Fury.
It's also 20 years. They could have put a different actor. I looked different 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my rant. I can't wait until all their period pieces require them to CGI everyone.
Like Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos are in World War II. Like then, so
Yeah.
there's a reason. Like he's got
He
a
fought alongside Captain America against Nazis. That's how
right,
old the
right. Like
character
there's a
is.
reason his why he's around, but I can't remember why. He's got like the white on the side of his hair, and with
He like froze his age at some point. I mean, don't check his Wikipedia page because you got to read through 100 billion.
I'm just trying to find.
Yeah, don't do it. Just step back and step
Fine.
away.
I'm going to step back. Anyone listening to this that's a comic fan, please give me the reason why he's still around. I know there's a reason. There's some. As a matter of fact, I distinctly remember there's a specific comic or movie or episode of like one of the Disney Avengers pre all of this version of the Avengers when it wasn't Samuel Jackson, but it was like the white eye patch, white hair Nick Fury, and there's a character that like sucks the life out of you, like ages rapidly, and he grabs on to Nick Fury, and Nick Fury's hair turns white right here, but he sucks out like 30 years of his life all in one, but it doesn't even affect him. He just like goes, oh, and they go like, and it's like, I'll be fine.
I mean, he's like a Wolverine, but not. It's weird.
he's got like a specific power or whatever that he's like not immortal, but his lifespan is like way longer. So I don't know. I think that should have been something that they touched on, with Nick Fury.
I think that would have been funny. That would have been good. I would have appreciated that because then I would be like, that's rewarding some like esoteric comic knowledge.
Right. Without them having to explain it, because this version of Captain, the reason he looks like Nick Fury is because, the reason Samuel Jackson looks like Nick Fury is because the Ultimate Universe in the comic book decided to make him look like Samuel Jackson as a joke.
Right.
In that way, and then when they cast him for the movie, they said, "Well, why use the white version when we've got a really good Samuel Jackson? Let's just use him."
Let's just use the real one. Yeah, no, it's great. So it was good, and this has been our review of movies you saw 6 months ago. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. We get to talk about it.
You'll see it again. You'll enjoy it.
In 4 months or 3 months from now, we'll review Endgame.
Hopefully sooner, but yeah, probably 3 or 4 months. I was talking to my brother, and I was like, I feel like I'm the only person on the planet that hasn't seen Endgame yet, and he's like, I haven't seen it either, and I'm like, what? Oh, brother.
I'm gonna text you right now. What kind of geek are you? How dare you, sir? I know your brother, but you expect better.
We're just not. We're definitely peas from that same pod. We're just not. We just don't care enough.
Oh, blasphemous, for sure.
Although in that conversation, I will say that he spoiled it for me, as I've done a pretty good job of avoiding spoilers.
Oh,
he's like so and so and so and so and so. So I'm like, V, what? Why would you do this to me?
Oh man, he just like straight up spoiled it, huh?
Yeah, he hasn't even seen it, and he spoiled it.
Oh, that's a joke. He spoiled it without even seeing it himself. Fantastic. That's
It really is. It really is. I can't even be mad. I was like, I'm not even mad. That's it's my fault. I should have seen it 3 months ago when it came out.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
for sure. Speaking of comic book stuff, just one of our last few stories, I guess I wanted to touch on, and this is kind of sad. Mm-hmm. Again, we talked about Hellboy and it failing and it coming back, and we lost another comic character. We've lost into the media, the Tick.
because Amazon is canceling it after 2 seasons.
They canceled it after 2 seasons, and I don't know if you were a fan or not, but I really liked that take of the Tick.
It was on my list. I really enjoyed the first take of the Tick, so I.
No, absolutely. Well, which one are we talking about first? Like the cartoon or the live action?
The live action one.
The Patrick Warburton. Yeah, he's great. That was great.
And that one was 2 seasons too, right? That one.
It was 1 season.
Oh,
Fox. It was a Fox TV show, 1 season for sure.
Did they not get another? I feel like that. Yeah, no, all right. So, yeah.
1 season.
I haven't seen it. I never read the comics or saw the cartoon.
Yeah, so the comic is... Oh, you never saw the cartoon either?
No. Not, like, on purpose. I might have seen an episode or two, but I never... It was after the time period I'd be watching, right? Because it was like a late 90s cartoon, wasn't it?
Yeah, like with X-Men and
yeah.
So...
Again, those were ones where if I was up on Saturday morning, I watched it, but otherwise, I didn't catch them.
Yeah, so the Tick was an interesting one. It has the same kind of history as like Ninja Turtles, where the comic is definitely darker than the cartoon, but somehow or another, the creators like shopped the idea to create a cartoon for Saturday morning, and it got like a whimsical. It was always funny in the comic, but definitely darker, like more sinister, like more gory.
Yeah.
But the cartoon on Fox was silly in its own like silly way, and it's a cult classic.
I wonder because like buying a Marvel property was probably relatively expensive, although back then it might not have been.
And no, that's
then why would they buy the Tick? Like why wouldn't they just buy another Marvel property? But
yeah,
perhaps Marvel had weird contractual obligations and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. The X-Men cartoon they had production problems with that. They would ask for another season, and they would take them forever to make it. And then
right, yeah,
yeah. So the Tick was kind of a one-off. You didn't have any history to kind of go off of. You can like write it. It was being written like a cartoon where you had an idea for a character, but you just ran with it as a lore on the cartoon as opposed to having to reference old lore, while the X-Men had to reference the way you pulled in the comic.
Oh, that's true. That's true. In Teenage Mutant Turtles, you can sort of do whatever you want too, right? So.
Right, because it was a dark noir style comic book, black and white, and then they made like a colorful like surfer California lingo
Cowabunga dude.
I mean, they even changed up the turtles, right? They were like happy-go-lucky, eat pizza, multiple color bandanas with their initials on there.
My kid has seen like 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle episodes in her life, and she knows all the turtles' names. And I'm like, how did you get so branded so wonderfully? Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, my kid will love it.
She's like, Michelangelo likes the pizza, and I'm like, yes, that's the turtle that likes the pizza. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. They know the personalities. They're like, oh, Raph is the hothead, and Michelangelo's party, and Leonardo's
he's the mean one. That's what ours says. Raphael.
Oh yeah, he's the ours. Yeah. He's right. He is the mean one. He's the grump of the group.
He's the grump of the group.
And Donatello's the brains. Yeah.
Lord. We know too much about the turtles too. Actually,
of course we do. I would. Yeah. The Tick got it got a cartoon, and then it got its live action on Fox, which was after the fact, and it was a funny kind of a sitcom-y show. And then
but like Fox does as Fox does, and they squander their opportunity and toss it in the trash. Yeah.
So then Ben Edlund had been trying for many years after that to get it picked up by someone, and he got he got Amazon to jump on it, and Amazon did something fun with that. A few years back, they did a pilot thing where they created, they paid for multiple pilots.
And then they had like a voting thing, right?
Where you'd go on there and watch, and whatever got the most watches or whatever, if you enjoyed it, you hit yes or no. And then
we did it the first time around, and none of our shows were picked, and so we were just so heartbroken. We never did it.
The 2 shows that got picked were probably the ones that you didn't, which was the Tick and the Jean-Claude Van Damme one.
Yeah, we didn't pick either one of those.
JCVD, which was hilarious in its own weirdness, and it was camp like it. Yeah.
One season, yes. Because people picked it as a joke. You can't trust voting.
Yeah,
that's how you get voting.
But the Tick was fantastic. The wife and me watched the first season, and we loved it. Like, it was, as superheroes do, but it was definitely taking a more psychological take to a character, especially a character that had like mental mental issues and whatnot. So it was definitely rewarding that kind of happy-go-lucky, like it's good to be positive, and not everything has to be grim dark, and the Tick was filling that void where everything was dark and gritty, and like even the Marvel universe was kind of getting like sad. The Tick was taking it a different route, and I haven't seen season 2, even though I should have, but it's been so busy with other stuff. But Ben Edlund has been trying to shop it since they canceled it for the past like month and a half, and he pretty much sent out a tweet on the 14th saying, after much door knocking, we have found no new home for this Tick series in this current market. Save the Tick and #Lunatic Army. I'm sorry we cannot reward your glorious support with better news. I'm so proud of the show, of the cast and the crew writers, and I'm so warmed by the fans. We look for opportunities to continue this story with the cast, but the current series must, I'm afraid, come to an end.
I don't know why they just kickstart it.
They could. Absolutely.
Veronica Mars, Critical Role, they all got money.
Yeah.
I mean, now I guess I'll watch it on Amazon. I'm sort of surprised Amazon. The Amazon now has The Boys, right? Their new like grim dark killing spree.
Yeah. Which the Tick is not that. I mean, there is definitely some darkness to it, but you're rewarded for it for putting up with that darkness. You get the character that is the Tick.
Yeah.
The Tick is like the.
I felt like the Tick TV show was like the first season was like that. The first run on Fox was like that too, where you're like, haha, oh, now I'm sad. Like, it was like, it definitely had a little bit of that sort of emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Ben Edlund, the creator, is known for that. He likes to play with the different side of the spectrum of the superhero, kind of the silliness, but like take the silliness and go, you know what? That silliness is sometimes needed in this world.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the Tick fills that void.
Totally.
So it's sad to see it go. Another franchise that's come again and is now going to disappear for a while, and maybe it'll come back in a different form. 5-10 years from now, if the creator.
When we want to be happy again, right? That's really what it's about. We had just enough time to get 2 seasons of superhero happiness, and now we got to go back to either consumerist superhero or grimdark.
Grimdark, right? Yeah. So I think that's it from my end. Are you doing anything since you're not running tabletop right now? What are you doing?
Well, my buddy Jordan, he's going to be running Star Wars for us, so we're kicking that off on Sunday. We're playing Fantasy Flight Star Wars Edge of the Empire. Watching the character creation discussion go back and forth is kind of funny now as a player because I'm not running it. I'm used to being a DM, and I'm really glad I'm not running it. Because Star Wars, people come to Star Wars with like real expectations. It's
sure.
So I
playing the Jedi.
Huh? No one actually. We have no one Force sensitive. We have a lot less humans than I was expecting as well. I actually am pondering switching my character to a human, just to keep it to the Star Wars ratio of humans to aliens. But it's good. I'm excited for it. Fantasy Flight has a very weird system. I'm having trouble even creating a character in it. Like I don't understand the numbers. But I think a lot of it's just because I'm so used to thinking D&D. I need to change the way I think a little bit.
Right. It's hard to written so well, and there's so much
the characters. The characters essentially just talent sheets, right? It's just talent tiers. You pick this one. You can go. If you pick this one, you can pick this one. If you pick this one, you can pick. Like it's just
the talent tree.
Talent trees. Yeah, it's just easy. But I can't get my head around it from a character creation perspective. So I'm excited for it. I'm probably gonna play a smuggler thief. I think is the character. I'm looking down because that's where it is. And
what other characters are there? Like what can you choose from?
Anything really, anything from the movies. Edge of the Empire has like bounty hunter, and then there's 3 different subclasses of bounty hunter. So you got like bounty hunter, basically like assassin killer, bounty hunter like tradesman, bounty hunter gadgeteer. So you get like subclasses for each of them, right? Interestingly, it looks like. Or smuggler pilot, smuggler scoundrel, smuggler thief with different kinds of expertise and talent trees. Interestingly, like Han Solo would be all 3 of those, right?
Right.
Except he's not a very good thief, right? He thinks he is, but he's not very good, so he didn't really spec that much into it. But in Fantasy Flight, there are 3 different tiers. And this is, I don't know how deep I want to get on this, but this is one of my fundamental problems with future games. That if you pick a class like pilot and you focus your skill set on being a pilot, if you're not flying a ship, you're not doing anything else, right? So I don't know. So like we all have to pick our class roles, and I was like, oh, I'll pick pilot, not thinking because now I'm like, oh, I don't want to be a pilot because now if we're not flying a ship, my character can't do anything, right? I can't shoot. None of my skills.
You can't even shoot?
No, but I mean, like, none of your special skills apply, right? So, like, think about it in terms of D&D. If you could be a fire wizard, but the entire mission is on a fire world, none of your spells are going to work, right? So, like,
or they will work, they just won't cause any damage.
They just won't cause any damage. But this is even more specific, right? Like, my guy is a pilot, so my skill is like astrogation, which means we have to be in space for that skill to apply. My skill is piloting a ship, which means we have to be in a ship for that skill to apply. And those are my skills. So like there's a bounty hunter shooter that, anytime they shoot a gun, they can use their skill. anytime they're unlocking a door, they can use their skill, which will happen way more frequently.
How much cross-classing can you do in this game?
You could do a lot if I'm reading this right, if I'm understanding this sort of discussion with the character.
If I wanted to play a character like Han Solo, I would have to be a little bit of everything, but like not very good at like jack of all trades and master of none. Is that what it ends up being?
So you can wind up getting a lot of skills. As I understand it, you can be skilled in a lot of things, but your talents might be focused, right? So like Han Solo will probably be skilled in a lot of things, but his talents are probably really focused on piloting and being charming, right? Those would be Han Solo's. I guess if I had to pick Han Solo's archetype, he's like a charming pilot. He's really good at flying the Millennium Falcon, and he's really good at charming princesses, right? And that's what he does. But he's not very good at repairing a ship. So even though he's got some skills in it, he doesn't have a talent in it, right? So that's, I think, how you have to envision building your character. There are two things you might be really good at, and everything else
right,
you're kind of okay at. So that's the way my pilot's going to be. He's going to be really good at thievery and con games, and kind of bad at the piloting, kind of mediocre, middle of the ground pilot. But he's the team's pilot. Shh, don't tell them yet that I'm a bad pilot. So we'll see what goes. It should be interesting. I don't know. I mean, like, whenever I played Star Wars in the past, and I used to play the old West End games, the original one way back in the day, we almost never flew a ship. Like, our ship would always crash, or we'd have to leave the ship to go fight stormtroopers, right? There wasn't really... You had a pilot class, but it wasn't really piloting, right? There wasn't... There might have been like a 2-minute dogfight, but there could you...
I'm interested.
Everyone had a Millennium Falcon, right? Everyone,
yeah.
We weren't 5 X-Wing fighters. We weren't, Red 5, Red 4, Red 3. We were all Millennium Falcon flyers, right? That's the way you could play it as a role-playing game. You're not going to play it as a bunch of X-Wing pilots. So
I think you would play it like a group. Like if we wanted to take those Star Wars out of it, if you wanted to play maybe like Guardians of the Galaxy, that's just an example, because they've got a crew of like a little bit of everything, right? You've got, who would be Peter Quill would be like the pilot, and he's also a smuggler, but not very good, whatever. And then you've got like the muscle, which is going to be Drax, and he's just kind of
Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect role playing team, yes, and also, and I've said this multiple times, it's one of the better Star Wars movies I've ever seen. Right, it's right there. And yeah, this is and try to imagine, like, I don't even know how you would play. I don't know how you would play the Rebellion in a role playing game, right? Because try to imagine like an X-wing dogfight. Is each player is going to have their own X-wing, and they're all going to be fighting 10 TIE fighters. Like, it doesn't feel like, or is it 4 of us on a planet fighting stormtroopers and 1 player is up in the sky on this X-wing?
Didn't we talk about this? Like the Star Wars whole tabletop experience has been all about like Armada to. So you play giant galactic, Star Destroyers.
Yep.
You drop down a level, and then you drop down a level, and then if you wanted to, you could drop down all the way to the to the person.
Role playing level, yep.
You role play, and then when it comes down to like Star,
pop up to X-wing. That would be. I mean, if Jordan does that, I'm going to be very impressed. That would be an amazing transition for a lot of folks. But if you're trying to evoke the movies or even the cartoons, which I'm slogging my way through, if you try to evoke the movies, there is some X-wing fights and they're pretty cool, but they're not the only thing, and it would be hard to run that as a DM, right? Like even the first, the Hoth scene, right? Like,
you want to be like on the Millennium Falcon. If you had a ship, some sort of like cruiser,
you want to be a smuggler running from
the pilot, and then 2 people man the guns.
Yeah.
And then someone is engineering, where they're just like repairing stuff constantly to keep.
Or you want to be the beginning of Return of the Jedi, where they're infiltrating Jabba's palace and they're trying to sneak their way in to rescue their friend. That's a great role-playing arc all the way from beginning to end.
Yeah. That's
a lot of fun. All the heroes come together. A not good role-playing arc is Hoth, right? Actually, the beginning of Empire Strikes Back, right? You got the Princess and Han Solo in one place. You got Luke Skywalker in another place. They're not together. They're
on
2 different fucking planets.
Separate. Yeah.
Like, imagine trying to run that as a DM, right?
Like, okay, you're on Dagobah now? Okay.
Yeah, okay, Luke, we're going to have you do the training session. You guys are going to listen while we do Yoda, right? That's, like, how would you evoke that in a role-playing game? It would be difficult to do.
I'm not a fan of splitting the party to begin with.
Yeah, and it's boring it's either boring for 3 people or boring for 1 person, right? So maybe you could have a player play Yoda. Maybe you can have the player play the swamp monsters. Like you could get them involved somehow from a role playing perspective, but it still wouldn't work out. Like actually, if I was running Bespin, I would probably give the Luke player Lando's character with a note saying Lando's betrayed the team. Like let them role play Lando, and let Lando eventually becomes a hero, right? So you have that sort of player moment. But then the Dagobah scene wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited for it. I'm excited because I'm going to get to go pew pew, and I love blasting stormtroopers. Right? It's like in the hierarchy.
They like goblins.
They're orcs. It's like
Okay.
Oh, I love killing orcs too. Love killing.
No. I'm just saying, like, what's the low tier? Like, I'm trying to think of like, in the D&D world, you throw goblins at them. Kobolds start off in goblins, and then
kobolds and goblins are kind of even playing, but like if you're sent to do a dungeon with kobolds, like everyone knows you're in a low level dungeon.
So we're like Tusken Raiders.
No, stormtroopers are the low tier.
Jawas.
Oh god. Yeah, I was told no Ewoks, and I'm like, what is this?
You can't play an Ewok?
Can't play Ewok? I wouldn't want to play an Ewok. Why would you want to play an Ewok?
Yeah, just like, why not? No. I want to play an Ewok rogue right now.
You would show up and be like, I'm going to play an Ewok. Why would you want to lie? How would Ewok work on the Millennium Falcon?
Can't reach anything.
They make all their traps out of wood. Like what?
They'd be like the druids. They'd be like druids of Star Wars.
Oh Lord!
No, wait, isn't that what Wookiees are? No, I guess Wookiees would be like druids.
Wookiees are the battle druids, right? I guess no, they're just big furry barbarians. They're barbarians.
And I'm guessing you have stats for that too.
Right? Also, they're apparently tech heads. So our particular our Star Wars game, we're going to have a Wookiee technician. So he's going to.
So this is going to be fun because languages, not everyone speaks Wookiee.
So I don't know how that works, but they definitely found a way around it, and everyone sort of has a basic language that they can all talk to each other. And
so we're going to get Chewbacca speaking fluent. Hi there, guys. Let me clear my throat for a second.
Gentlemen, the hyperdrive does not work. I told you, Mr. Solo, before that the hyperdrive does not work.
Does not work. I told you multiple times, quit spending the money. We need to repair this.
Can you imagine?
I'm just saying, I'm trying to figure that out.
This is what happens, Solo, when you don't follow my preventative maintenance plan on upkeeping the Millennium.
I wrote it on the board. You didn't do your chore list.
Broken. Hyperdrive broken. Now we're escaping from the Imperials. Again. Yeah. I'm going to go back and have an Earl Grey, right? Comes out with the tea.
Pinkies up. It was honestly though.
This almost writes itself, to be honest with you. It'd be great.
No, totally. You'd have the gentleman Wookiee, just like monocle and all.
He like spits his tea out.
Oh man! Now I want someone to play that game. Oh my god!
I'm excited. I'm hosting it so I can give him my pre-painted stormtroopers and my pre-painted forces. And I'm actually painting my guy up now, so I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to hear more about it. Yeah, well, there we go. I'm not playing any tabletop right now. I'm gonna play a 5-minute dungeon Marvel with the kiddo this week for sure.
Awesome! I'm excited to hear how that goes with your boys.
Asking me for it, and I was gonna try to play it this weekend without the wife, but
Did you download the app because it's got the Jarvis voice?
No, I haven't.
So it's got there's a 5-minute Marvel app, and it's got Jarvis as the voice. So you push the button, and he does a 5-minute timer for you.
Oh, no way. Yeah. So okay, I'll do that. I
you need the timer anyway because there's certain cards that stop time for you to give you more time, so you can stop time.
Oh. Yeah, okay, I'll take a look at it. Absolutely. So I'll give a rundown of that next week.
It's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun. I think I think Connell is going to go bonkers on it. So
Oh yeah.
that's what I'm hoping, because it's like, I mean, you're just matching up symbols, and I could see him being like, I got 3 fists, I got 2 lightning bolts.
He, I'll give you an update on what he's doing right now, just because we talk about our kids a lot.
Yeah.
He is, not that I let him, but he doesn't usually play the adult consoles, which are the PlayStation and Xbox. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, there's a lot of games on there that I really should let them play, other than just like the Wii U and the Switch that they like to play. So he's been on a Spider-Man kick as of late. He's been watching Homecoming and all that, and so I was like, you know what? Why don't you run through the Spider-Man game on PlayStation? So he
the new one with the puddles,
the new one,
wow.
with the puddles, and what's nice about it, it's got difficulty settings, and about 4 different tiers, and friendly neighborhood is the friendly neighborhood, spectacular, amazing, and like something else like ultimate or whatever. Spider-Man is like the hardest one, and I put it on a friendly neighborhood, and he is flying through the story. So the game is obviously tiered enough that if you just want to play the game for story and the combat isn't that hard, he can do it.
You're a scrubby old man like me, right?
Yeah, like I'm one of those guys that don't want to drop the difficulty, but then I put myself in a corner where I'm like, I want to play the game, but then I like losing on certain stuff. I'm like, oh, come on, I don't want to drop the difficulty. And then I did the same thing with God of War. I got to a point where it was just like I was getting attacked by these like 2 giants over and over again, and it just like no matter what I did, they dropped me over and over again, and I refused to drop the difficulty, and so I kind of left it there, and I haven't picked it up since.
Oh, at least you don't have my Resident Evil story, right? Where I've told you this story.
No.
So, I mean, what version? I think it's 4. It's the one on the GameCube, right?
Right.
Is that 4?
Yeah.
There's a monster that you can only damage it if you shoot it in the back. I don't remember the monster. It had like knife hands, and you can only shoot it in the back. And there's a point in which you're walking in, and you go in, a cage drops, and you wind up fighting this monster in a really tight space, and so it's hard to get around him to shoot him in the back. I died over and over, and I was at the hard difficulty setting, because back then I was hardcore and I had to play.
Right. If you weren't playing on the hardest difficulty, then you weren't playing the game.
And what are you doing? What are you here doing? You're not getting your money's worth. Yeah. And my wife, girlfriend at the time, Sarah, actually wife, she's watching me play this game, and I am dying. I'm dying. I'm like grabbing the paddle. I'm like, oh, fuck! I'm just keep dying over and over again. And then I must have died like 30 or 40 times. And then I restarted, walked in, no monster. Spawns in the cage. And I'm like, well, what's happening? What's happening? So I go a little further in, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Where'd the monster go? And I clicked down, and it unlocked easy mode for me and automatically moved me to easy, where the monster doesn't spawn.
That's hilarious. So basically, it was like,
I'm going to help you out, you scrub.
Yeah, it showed you mercy. It was like, no, let's get through this game, guy. We're going to drop you down.
No,
There's a couple games that do that. Couple games that do that for sure. That the more times you die, I know that like the Mario games, like everything after like Mario World and 3D Land and whatnot, if you die multiple times, it eventually goes, hey, do you want us to run through this with like gold Mario or whatever? Or one of them is like it puts a white block with a gold leaf, and if you hit it, it turns into like an invincible Mario with a white and gold Tanuki suit. So basically, you can run through all the enemies. I mean, you can still die if you fall, but it gives you the point where
I'm imagining like a Nintendo version of Clippy showing up, and it's like, hey, it looks like you're having trouble.
That's exactly what it is. The 3DS version of it does that pretty much. It basically goes, do you want me to help you? And it goes through, and like Luigi shows up and like beats the level for you.
That's so nice, and I think it's so great. But at the same time, I would be really insulted.
I mean, as a gamer for a long time, I'm like, I'm never gonna play with that.
Fucking get your face out of here!
And the game, what it does, what's hilarious about it is, I can't. Kana will do that occasionally on a specific level on the Mario games. But then I'm looking through his map, like the overworld map, and the overworld map, if you beat that level with that, it puts a specific icon over, basically telling you, hey, you're going to have to come back and play this level to get, full credit for it. But for right now, you passed it with this. So it's like
the easy mode.
Like a normal pass. It's like a big old like, wah, wah. Just a big old like, hey, hey guy, this is
It's like a participation trophy.
kind of like it's like pride. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's my story of that, which didn't give me an easy mode, but a story that I just like threw the game and just like never played it again. My sister knows this very well. Is Mario Sunshine. There's a specific level in the game that you have to go up to the top of the beach, and there is a watermelon, like a giant watermelon, and you have to push that watermelon all the way down to the beach and push it to a specific spot to beat the level. But on this game or on this level, there are these like blue duck things, like big heads with big bills, and if they see you with it, they run at you, and then they flip the watermelon into the air, and then it hits the ground and it busts. So then you have to go all the way back up and grab another one that spawns. So I remember that over and over again, and there was like a way that you could do it by like putting the watermelon specific spot and then rolling it, and it would avoid all of them, but I could never get it. And I never did it. It was a spot where I was just like, you can't skip it because you need the shine or whatever for that level to kind of continue. So that was it. I never beat that version of Mario. That's one of the only Marios I've never beaten.
That's shameful. That's utterly shameful.
I've been telling my sister I'm going to sit down and play it again and finally beat it.
That's the most shameful thing I've ever heard anyone say in their entire life. At least I beat Resident Evil 4 on easy mode. It turned out I was like, actually, this is much nicer. Why was I playing it on hard?
I know, right? I realized games that give you bad endings for playing easy can go to hell.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Just
you're
let
a
me
story-based game. Let me just play the game so I can enjoy the story, and let me play it at whatever difficulty I want without shaming me about it. Like games that like give you not only achievements but like a specific item in the game. If you only beat it on hard, is stupid. Just let me beat the game and then give me my reward.
I don't mind like a cosmetic thing, like a patch or a hat. Like Division has some of those and things like that. I don't mind that. I'm like, hey, you go do those things on hard mode. You dude. You want a hat?
All right. I guess
I don't mind that. I mind like
cosmetic, right? But if you're gonna not give me the actual ending to the game,
that's garbage. That's garbage. Give everyone the same access to the story. I also think everyone should have access to the secret missions because they all paid for it, right? So I think things like that. But a cosmetic hat for being in an ultimate deathcore hard mode, dude, like go for it.
Badge of honor. I get it.
Also, like, hey, I come from the World of Warcraft era where you had to really stroke that EP. You're allowed your EP, and young people should go get their EP. I'm an old man. I just want to pay. Just want to pay for the game.
Well, a good example is Fortnite. We hit our Fortnite quota for the game. In Fortnite, they do that, right? You got the season pass or whatever. You buy your season pass for the new season, and if you grind it out, you have the level or the skin that you can only get if you made it to level like 99 or whatever it is.
And enjoy that EP and go for it, dude.
You got the EP.
I don't even play that, right? I know my limits. That's pretty much it. I haven't put on Save the World in a while. The game changed so much that I just
I'm wondering what it looks like right now.
I don't know how I don't know. For our viewers, the 5 that have kept track, I don't do betas. I claim it. For some reason, I did a beta on this game, and now I remember why I don't do betas. Right? I hate how much the game changes.
This is an exception in a weird way because this game is still in beta. It's not a final product, and it never will be. So if you didn't play it early, you never would have played it. So let's just say that we got the enjoyment that we got for what we got. Not saying that you can't jump in it, but the nice part and the bad part is if you try to play the game now, it's a completely different game, which could be a good thing, bad thing.
Like when they finally say, "Okay, here's our gold release, it's done." Like, is that actually going to sell? Like, everyone's played crap out of it? What are they going to do differently? So I don't know.
But they've changed everything, right? Like they've changed the way you power up the levels. They've changed the way.
They've changed the missions. They've changed the way your characters are designed.
The game that you played no longer exists.
I enjoyed it and it's gone. It's like Minecraft. Are we bringing it back? Is that what you're doing? It's like Minecraft story.
Exactly. It goes right back to that. The version of a single player or the co-op
Save the world.
The world of Fortnite that you played is no longer the version that someone will get to play if they install the game fresh today.
Yeah, and there's probably a bunch of folks out there who want to go back and are asking, "Can we play Fortnite Classic, please?"
We'll get a Fortnite Classic. We'll get a Save the World Classic.
Save the World Classic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, we can beat this horse till it is dead over 3 times over, but there are people that enjoy the experience once in a specific way, and they want that experience again, and they're not going to be able to get it because these games nowadays are ever changing. They will not stop.
It's a shame, man. You're always chasing that dragon. You'll never
get it again. No, you'll never get it again.
You can play a different game, like Void Bastards. Play that. Great game.
Great game, guys.
Great game, Void Bastards.
Guys, episode 35, right? Did I say 35? 35.
I think 34. 34.
30-something. It'll be in the notes. I'll make sure it's the right name. Guys, if you liked what you heard, tell us what your comments. I want to hear more about these games. Maybe a little bit. What game are you looking forward to from the E3 talk that we talked about? What did you enjoy our Captain Marvel roundup here? So much time later. Let's hear about it.
We reviewing stuff you watched 6 months ago. Yeah, why not? Let's revisit.
Why not? We're gonna review Stranger Things season 1 next week.
I love it. Just in time for Stranger Things season 3, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, did you guys see that awesome commercial that I linked up? I know it's a Coke commercial.
No, I didn't click it.
Come on!
They still have my pension, man. Come on. Come on, showing me Coke commercials. Why would you insult me?
You watched it. It was delicious. Probably some of the best marketing I've seen in a long time.
It's good marketing.
Great marketing, guys.
They've always had good marketing, the jerks.
Commercialism! Guys,
love everybody.
Subscribe,
be kind to each other.
Enjoy. Episode 35. 34 is in the can.
I'm pretty sure it's 34 in the can.
Yeah, 34. See ya.